What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode. I'm your host, Disco, and today we're going to be talking about the 2022 Senate election right now. So currently, it's a tie of 50-50, no special election in between, no Alabama scenario, but we're going to be talking about the most important Senate elections that I think are for 2022. Now, the election is less than 50 days away. It is 44 days, 16 hours, 4 minutes, and just under 30 seconds left. If you want to go even farther to the presidential election, that's a bit too much. Too far. But yeah, we're going to be talking. Let's talk about the Senate elections. And let's get a move on. We're going to first talk about New Hampshire. Well, currently, any seat in gray right now is a seat that I think is important. Any in red or blue are solid that I think there's no brainer. Okay? And New Hampshire is one of them. Now, let's talk about New Hampshire. That's a Pennsylvania. No, New Hampshire. There is an incumbent, Democrat Maggie Hassan, first elected in 2016 by just a slim margin. She's now vying for a second term. She originally served as New Hampshire's governor. New Hampshire governor of New Hampshire from 2012. First won election in 2012 by 12 points. Won re-election by 4, well, by 5, and then decided to run for the Senate election in 2016. She is quite popular because the incumbent at the time was Ioti, don't know how to pronounce that, and she won by 23 points. Fast forward to a year where Trump was on the ballot, and Republicans were quite unpopular. She won. So yeah, I would categorize this as a lean Democrat for now. Things could change, very much so. Things could shift more to the right. Things could shift more to the left. I am unsure, but right now this looks like a race that Democrats are more likely to win. We'll talk about our next seat, Pennsylvania. There is no incumbents. The original incumbent, Pat Toomey, two-term elected, decided to retire due to the fact he was a Trump critic. Most likely be out primaried. That's the word I'm thinking of. Sorry. So the person who's vying to keep his seat is I can't really say Dr. Mehmet Oz. Looks like he called himself Dr. Oz, but he looks like a guy who sniffed too much cocaine. And John Fetterman, who you do not want to be in a boxing ring with. John Fetterman is the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania, so he already has he's already have electability on him. So, out of all the Senate races, Democrats are more likely to flip this one. Actually, Sabato Cristobal already has this flipped for the Democrats, which is strange. So we'll go to election history. If I can find his election history, weird. He has all these political positions. There's 14 of them, and yet there's not a single election history where you can find it or something. Election history, my bad. I'm just dumb. Okay, so we'll go into the Attorney General. Looks like a vice presidential candidate at the same time. My bad. But he's quite popular there. Okay. There has been back and forth concerns over these candidates. One candidate looking a bit too rich. That would be Dr. Oz, claiming he owned like 2 houses and either building others, but in reality he owned way more. And with Fetterman, there's a concern with his health due to just days before the primary, he had a stroke. Now, according to polls, there's only one state but the Pennsylvania. We'll go to currently. Fetterman right now is leading 5. U.S. Senate. If I go to Oregon, that might help. This is not cooperating with me. I am sorry about this. There we go. Finally, I had it. So Fetterman is leading by just shy of 9 points, but we also have to take in the poll, the pollster idea. Biden was leading by 4 points, by just under 5 points. He only won the state by like 1.2. So there's about a 3 gap. There's about a 3-point gap in there. So I would categorize this as a lean Democrat for now. Just because Democrats have the likely chance, they have an electable candidate, they have one that's a bit more competent, and one that actually knows how to campaign. So that's why. Well, actually, Weird Clear Politics actually has this as a flip for Republicans. Well, maintain, my bad. Even though Fetterman has led every single poll and the average has been 4.2, even if you do the average and have the same margin of error from both 2016 and 2020, even add a bit more, Fetterman still wins. Just slightly. So yeah, we'll go into our next Senate race, Ohio. Now, there is no incumbent. The original incumbent is Rob Portman. He, like many other senators, 2-term elected, decided not to run for re-election. Weirdly enough, he wasn't such a Trump critic, did not vote for his impeachment second time, or the first time. The Republican nominee being J.D. Vance, a guy who grew out his facial beard too much, and Tim Ryan, the Democrat nominee and representative of the Ohio 6th Congressional District. Now, it is weird seeing Ohio this competitive. If you remember, Ohio was won by 8 points by Trump. Yeah, he let the poll. Yeah, polls suggested other things, but yeah, still. J.D. Vance is a solid Trump Republican, although he originally opposed him and called himself a never Trumper ever since then. Views opposes abortion, same-sex marriage, believes Ohio's being flooded with illegal drugs. Tim Ryan, he's won in a conservative district, and he's got a bit of a mixed viewpoint on China. Basically, Democrats tend to be, they say they're soft, but they say, well, they're not. They don't say they're soft, but they say they are hard on China. But some things are skeptical. But Tim Ryan's voting history has shown that he's been very tough and an unusual Democrat. But this election will be the test whether Ohio is still a swing state. If it gets under 5 points, it is still a swing state. If it gets it to it, if a Democrat even wins it, then there's still purple in the state. Right now, I am going to characterize this as a likely GOP right now, due to the nature of Ohio and with the poll suggesting that, oh yeah, it could be competitive. Nah, we understand from 2016 is actually a perfect example. It was supposed to be like a sort of competitive Senate election, but even categorized it as a battleground. Yet Ohio Portman won it by 20.9. But strange. Okay, now we're going into our next state, Wisconsin. There is an incumbent, Ron Johnson, the Republican nominee, and versus Mandel Barnes, the Democratic nominee. Now Mandela, if I can get the right, there we go. Mandela is actually the lieutenant governor of Wisconsin. And this was his first election, and he just won it narrowly. You see, he just won it narrowly. He won it by 1.2. The weirdest looking two of all time. But yeah, so he does have that electability. Now, Ron Johnson, this is okay. Let's see. Right now, Johnson has a slightly leading views. He has a slight lead in the polls right now. If we can take a look, we'll go to Wisconsin. Right now, and that is the presidential election. Yeah, actually, Barnes has the lead by 1.2, but we know how the polls are in Wisconsin. They were very wrong in 2020, as I just showed you. And the presidential election in 2020, Biden was leading by 8 points. Yeah, that was completely wrong. But yeah, let's see how Ron Johnson is with his views. He rejects climate change, opposes abortion, federal spending cuts. He's so-called pro-gun, opposes the Affordable Care Act, opposes abortion, opposes. He was a outspoken advocate for destroying the dangers of COVID-19. I mean, like, he didn't think of it as such a danger, and thought people dying were fine. Well, Barnes, however, has classified himself as a progressive. Such a progressive stance in a Republican purple style state is new. Most candidates would move their views for the state in order to get to win the election. Now that is different. That is new. Yet again, Biden didn't do that, and he still kind of won the state. So I'm going to put this as a lean Republican. Yeah, abortion is still on the ballot, and Wisconsin's would overwhelmingly vote to choose for abortion. But yet again, though, Ron Johnson is an incumbent, so I would expect them to vote Republican. So now we'll go to our next state, North Carolina. That's Mandela's. Okay, North Carolina. There is no incumbents. Weirdly enough, there was a lot of Republicans. There was 5 Republicans. Was there 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 6 Republicans. Well, 5 of them retired. One had to vacate his seat, and a Democrat retired. So I just had to double check that. Now, North Carolina. Now, Richard Burr was supposed to be the incumbent, but he retired. Now, who's going to take his place? Obviously not Madison Cawthorn. Oh boy, that'd be weird. Ted Budd, the Republican nominee, versus Cheri Basley, the Democrat nominee. Now, North Carolina is a purple state. It is getting more, but it has gone from a heavily Republican state. We can just take a look through data. I mean, you could just take a look from past presidential elections. We'll go back to 2000. 12 points for Bush, 12 points again, less than 1% for Obama. And it has always been within 5 points. And Biden was expected to win North Carolina for the first time since 2008, but it didn't quite get there. But it shows that it's still purple. It's still within. It's less than 2 points. They have a Democratic governor. So yeah, it is getting more. It is shown it's getting more and more blue. This race has changed multiple times during the cycle, from a toss-up to likely GOP to now lean to around toss-up for both candidates. Let's see these candidates. Ted Budd. I've got to be careful. I say these right. Say the names right. Ted Budd introduced legislation that would ban abortion at 15 weeks, opposes the Affordable Care Act, and opposes the legitimacy of the 2020 election. That just the abortion already makes him deeply unpopular. So yeah, for Republicans, he's electable, but because he's got that Trump endorsement, that makes him even more. Now let's go for Cheri Basley. I am sorry I butchered this. I'm butchering this name. Let's talk about her. Actually, I'm reviewing my notes. I couldn't find anything about her. Although she was a Chief Justice appointed by Roy Cooper, the current governor of North Carolina. But yeah, I would need to see more debates to get information on her and to see what would happen. But right now, I am going to characterize this as a get my clicker on, not my pen. There you go. I got my mouse. I would characterize this as a lean Republican state. Maybe I should get my pen clear back. There you go. Next state, Georgia. There is an incumbent, Raphael Warnock, the Democratic nominee, and Herschel Walker, the Republican nominee. Now, Raphael Warnock originally won his Senate seat in a runoff election. He ran in the special election when Johnny Iskinson couldn't go on to continue his term in office due to health issues, so he vacated, resigned, and Kelly Loeffler didn't decide, but Kelly Loeffler was appointed to continue on his term until the end. Now, this obviously went into a runoff because there was multiple candidates running, and whoever got 50% would be the winner. But but Georgia has a law stating that you must get 50% in order to be elected. Well, there wasn't 50%, but then Warnock pulled a surprise and won. Now he's vying for a full term in office. So yeah, Georgia is originally a red state. We can look at history. Ever since obviously 2000, 11 points. It was solid. 16 for Bush, 5 for McCain, 7 for Romney, 5 for Trump, and then Biden won it by just a sliver, just under half a percentage point. So yeah. But there has been legislation that's been passed by the Georgia legislature that is making it harder for African Americans to vote. So that will definitely impact Raphael Warnock's ability to win re-election. But poll after poll has shown that it's been back and forth. Warnock has the Senate. Right now, it has. Right now, that is the presidential election. U.S. Senate. No, I like 2022, please. Thank you very much. Right now, Warnock has a lead of 2.2. But during the Senate election here, Warnock was winning by 4, and you would have to have a substantial lead in order to have a safe chance of saying that you could possibly win due to the polls being so inaccurate. So, according to Real Clear Politics, right now Georgia's a pickup for the GOP. I'm seeing multiple polls that show that Warnock is in the lead. I also see multiple polls that Walker's in the lead. So this is a competitive race. Warnock is not popular. Warnock isn't popular, and he's not particularly popular as well. Those are two different things. What I'm trying to say is that both candidates are they're not super unpopular, but they're also not super unpopular. They're that average these average candidates. So I would say this is a tilt Democrat for me. Georgia's getting more blue, and we're seeing that African American turnout is actually increasing. So it wouldn't surprise me if Georgia turned blue again. We'll turn to our next state, Florida. There is an incumbent, Marco Rubio, the guy who looks like he never went through puberty, and Val Demings, the Democratic nominee. So what can I say? Florida's getting more and more red. It originally was a blue state, trending a bit more Democratic, but now it's turning more and more red. Now, let's talk about these candidates. Marco Rubio first won his election in 2010 through a spoiler method when Charlie Crist split the vote. Right now, Rubio has a lead about 4 points. Yeah, he has about a lead. He has about around a 4-point lead against Demings right now. But we also have to keep in account how things were in the presidential election in 2020. Biden was leading by 2.5 points, roughly, but yet Trump won it by 3.5. That's about a 5-point deficit. According to Real Clear Politics, it's a hold for them if my mouse ever works. What the hell is wrong with Real Clear Politics? I'm serious. What the heck? All right, here we go. All in all, the polls show that Rubio's in the lead, with only one poll showing Demings with a 4-point lead by the University of North Florida. Is there Trafalgar on here? Huh, there's no Trafalgar. That's new. If Trafalgar, if it was a close race through Trafalgar, that would be new. But yeah, either way, Val Demings, let's talk about her as a candidate. In Florida, her views consist of a pro-abortion, wanting to preserve and protect the planet. Usual Democrat, keep the Affordable Care Act. Voted vote times to impeach Donald Trump. Her chances aren't great due to the more leaning conservative how Florida is. That doesn't make sense. How conservative leaning Florida is. Now, if her views were more conservative, she would more likely win. But yet again, the abortion thing is on the ballot, and that's new this year. But yeah, Rubio isn't really popular. He hasn't really been popular. So we also got to add those factors. I'm going to put this as a likely GOP for now, due to the fact how Florida is becoming more and more red, how some voting restrictions are, and just how things are in Florida. Now, we'll go into our next Senate election, Colorado. This is interesting. Michael Bennet, the Democratic nominee, and Joe Diehl. That's how you pronounce it? I don't know. The Republican nominee. Michael Bennet has been in office since 2010. A lot of these Senate candidates have been in office since 2010. What the flip? Okay, they've been in office since 2000. He's been in office since 2010. He is vying for a third term. But he will have a challenger, Joe Diehl. His views on abortion are new to the GOP. So take California, for example. California has a law stating that you'll have the right to an abortion until 6 months, unless the life of the mother is in danger. He believes in 5 months, which is about 20 weeks. The bill proposed by Graham was 15. That is something new. He has presented himself as more of a moderate Republican. Even made an interview with CNN and didn't blatantly say out fake news, which is something new on a based off a Republican. But yeah, that is something to consider. Will that have an impact on the race? Yes, it will, because there was an interview done by CNN that went around Ohio Republicans. Well, didn't went around Ohio Republicans. Went around and talked to Ohio voters that are more Republican in that area, and they said women's rights are important. Well, and they said that that's a lot. That is very popular amongst the entire country as well. That could have an impact. Now, I wouldn't say this is a first, this is going to be double digits, but no, this could be a likely race. I'm predicting like a 6-point victory. That's just a point better than 2016, considering that Biden won it by 13 and a half points. But still. We'll go into our next Senate race, Arizona. Mark Kelly is the incumbent Democratic, while Blake Masters is the Republican challenger. Now, Mark Kelly first won his seat in 2020 when John McCain unfortunately passed away due to brain cancer. Now, I think it was Doug Ducey, the governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey, appointed Martha McSally. That was already a bad decision because we all knew she wouldn't win. She tried winning a Senate seat without having the incumbency effect in 2018 and lost by 2.3 against Sinema. Then tried again in 2020 and she lost by the same margin, actually. She is deeply unpopular there. But yeah. Now Mark Kelly is vying for a full term. Blake Masters okay, so let's see. It won't be easy in these circumstances due to the fact of how the history of Arizona has been. In 2000, Bush won it by 6.3. Bush again by 10. McCain by 8. Romney by 9.1, and then Trump came in and basically made it by 3 points, 3.5, and then Biden won it by 0.3. It has always been slightly purple. It's just that when Trump came in, it became more purple. And then more people came from the Rust Belt, and then came from Maricopa County. This county right here. This is the most populous one of the most populous counties in the country. But still, let's talk about these candidates. It won't be easy for them. Kelly's already popular with Planned Parenthood because he's got an A rating for them. He's an outspoken advocate for gun control. He doesn't support the Green New Deal, which is a bit unpopular with some Democrats, but still they'll vote for him probably. And he has a both party position with the southern border. He says that he has a very Republican tone with when he says, I want to secure our border, but he doesn't agree with a lot. He doesn't agree with most stuff based in the Republican Party on immigration. Now, Blake Masters, he wants to ban abortion after the third trimester, which is already better than a lot of other Republicans, but they say we should have a total abortion ban or a 6-week abortion ban with no exceptions to rape and incest. Blaming other races for the gun violence, opposes gay marriage, and supports the false claims that the 2020 election was stolen. That already makes him a threat to democracy. This is a tight race. Kelly is leading the Senate race. Now, Kelly is leading by 7.5 points compared to before, right as Roe was overturned, it was only 2.6. But then once the campaign started, it started to get heated. It started to lengthen out a bit. Not as high as say in August, but still high. But we gotta add the effects of other polls. Biden only was leading by 2.6, and then he only won it by 0.3. Now, I am going to mark this as a lean Democrat due to the nature of Arizona, due to some new laws as well. So we got to add that to the mix. So yeah, now even with Masters' approach to abortion, it will still be interesting on how Arizonians will handle that. All right. We'll talk into our next one. We'll talk about our next Senate election, Nevada. Catherine Cortez Masto, and the Republican nominee Adam Laxalt. Now, Masto first won her term in 2016 when Harry Reid had decided to retire and not run again. She won it by 2.5 points and is vying for a second term. Now, at first, it showed like she would lose pretty badly, going to a likely Republican pickup to now a toss-up by regular polls. Slowly but surely is moving in her favor. I'm going to put this as a tilt Republican for now, because multiple polls show that right now Masto has a 2.9 lead. But if we look at the presidential election in Nevada in 2020, Biden was leading by 5 points, yet he only won it by 2.4. Oh, excuse me. But the voting blocks she'll have to appeal to are Latino workers, Latino, and middle class voters. Latino voters have been moving steadily towards Republicans. She keep the same Latinos in the same area, and I'm running out of time. Damn it. Oh, I'll talk to you guys next time. I'm running out of time. Free trial. I gotta insert a new email. Well, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. We will pick off where we were last time, and I will see you guys next time. Hasta la vista.